Do you hear what I hear? No, it's not the Christmas season yet, but that is coming soon. But what I do hear and read is that Compass, the nation's #1 largest real estate brokerage based on both headcount and sales, is buying Anywhere Real Estate, the #2 brokerage in all of the land. But why are they doing this? Well, before we jump into it, as you know, I'm Brad Reynolds, and you know my hashtag, so I'll skip that. So now let me answer that question, and let's begin. So what's the deal? Well, Compass is buying Anywhere Real Estate in an all-stock transaction. Once the deal closes, the company will be valued at roughly $10 billion, counting debt. Now, for any shares that Anywhere Real Estate holders have, they will receive 1.44 shares of Compass stock, and that is based on Compass's average price over the last 30 days since mid-September 2025. After closing, current Compass shareholders will own 78% of the entity, while current Anywhere shareholders will own 22%. This deal is big and broad and impacts not only real estate, but the entire business community, particularly for agents. We'll get to that here in a bit, but let me give you a few more details of the deal. Now, once it closes, Compass will have 340,000 agents in total between franchise and franchisee agents. They will expand rapidly and will be in every major US city, most mid-size and small cities, as well as 120 countries across the globe. Okay, so at this point, anyone watching this video is probably familiar with Compass. They're huge. But how many of you know what Anywhere Real Estate is? Honestly, I had no clue, and they're the #2 largest company, real estate brokerage in the country. There's so many companies underneath that umbrella: Corcoran, ERA, Coldwell Banker, Better Homes and Gardens, etc. I had no clue, but all of those will now be part of the Compass umbrella. The big draw here is from additional revenue, almost up to $1 billion they're estimating, from franchises, from title and escrow, and from relocation services. Most people not in the industry don't understand how much money is flowing through these companies with every single deal that happens. Okay, so we've explained the details of the deal. Now let's look at what they expect to happen after the deal closes. First, synergies and cost savings. Compass is estimating that this deal will save them at least $225 million in cost efficiencies in the coming years. Also, stronger cash flow and a better financial statement. Compass estimates they'll have a lot more money come in, which ultimately will lead to more net income and a better, stronger balance sheet. So here's the big draw for Compass. Compass has been the company that's been out front saying we are the leader in new tech and new platforms to help our agents. Conversely, for so many of those agents under the Anywhere umbrella, they were known by the old guard and the companies they worked for. So when you merge the two, you've got better technology, better firms, better company. So what about the timing? Well, both boards have unanimously approved the deal. The deal is expected to close in the second half of 2026, and they've secured a $750 million loan from Morgan Stanley to make the deal happen. So how about the stock and the market reaction? What did the market actually think from this news? Well, Anywhere's stock jumped 45 to 55%. Folks are excited about this deal. Conversely, Compass's stock went sideways and slightly down. Folks are kind of nervous about how do you combine both, how much debt are we going to take on, and how are we going to merge these two companies into one. Compass is saying that all the brands will remain distinct. This is not about having all the agents join Compass. Those brands will be under the Compass umbrella, but they'll still be their own entities. They're prioritizing keeping their highest performing agents with them and not losing those folks. You see, Compass had gotten somewhat lethargic the last few years in terms of, and sitting on their laurels in terms of their technology. But now, by having this one big company, they're bringing everybody under the tent. It doesn't mean that you have to use their technology and platforms, but it is an option, and I would expect that most people would when they see how cool it is. So what is the bottom line for agents? Well, first and foremost, if you're a Compass agent, expect to get more referrals. There will be more agents, more technology, more people coming under the umbrella. If you're with one of the Anywhere brands, ask yourself, are the fees or the commission structure going to change? Will the leadership at your company change? Do you have to use the technology that Compass has given? A lot of questions to understand. Conversely, if you're an agent at another company, someone like me, this could be an opportunity for those folks to recruit people like me, and we'll see if that happens. Most likely, some agents will jump ship because the company will be so big, it'll be hard not to join the party. Here's what I think. What I think is that I really like Compass. I got a lot of friends there. When they first came to town 5 or 6 years ago, they called me and made a big push from me, which was very appreciated, to come and join. I thought long and hard about it. I really like where I am. No shade against them. I love where I am. Might I be there forever? Might I move on? At some point, I'll probably start my own thing or move to another brokerage. But in the meantime, I am where I am, and I decided not to go. Compass, in doing this, is creating a behemoth of a company. They're gonna be too hard and too big to ignore. Quite frankly, they already were. I ultimately value relationships over tech. Tech is great. There's a lot of great things out there. But ultimately, when you think about me, I want you to think Nashville, think Brad, and I want you to call me. So many folks, when they call, probably don't even know who I work for. And again, no shade at who I work for. I love working at Synergy, but they work with me because they know I will get the job done. I will pick up the phone, I'll answer the text quickly, I'll get back to them quickly on emails, I'll guide them start to finish. So look, this is a big deal. What Compass is doing is amazing. When consolidation slows, innovation grows, or something of that sort. And that's what they're doing here. There's not much innovation going on, so they're gobbling up a whole nother company to become this behemoth. But look, they're a publicly traded company. They have to focus on quarterly results, which is kind of crazy, and they're talking about moving it to twice a year. But that's a whole other subject. We'll see how they mend the two together. How do they actually match? The old guard versus the new cool kid on the block. Quite frankly, none of that even matters for me. The folks who work with me know who I am. They know Think Nashville, Think Brad, they know my name. Many probably don't even know who I work for, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that when you call me, you get great customer service. I answer every phone call, text, and email basically instantly. And my number of reviews and my sales shows it. For a solo guy, I really hit above my average. So when you are ready to buy, you better call me. You better think Nashville, think Brad, because if you want a great deal, who better to know the market than me? Hope to hear from you soon. Cheers.